The Silent Watchers. Admiral Elena Santos stood at the viewport of humanity's most advanced stealth observation post, Station Nightshade, watching the Zenith Empire's patrol fleet pass by. Their crystalline ships gleamed with purple energy, completely unaware of the human facility mere kilometers away. After 2 centuries of careful observation, humanity had perfected the art of remaining invisible. Another patrol passing through Sector 7, Admiral, Lieutenant Commander Kai Chen reported from his monitoring station. Their sensor technology hasn't improved in the last decade. Still using the same quantum resonance detection systems we mapped in 2547. Elena nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the distant stars. And they still believe they're the most advanced civilization in this arm of the galaxy. Pride before the fall, as they say. The observation post's quantum computers continued their silent work, analyzing every detail of the passing Zenith ships. Humanity had spent generations watching, learning, and quietly surpassing every piece of alien technology they encountered. While the Zenith Empire expanded through force and intimidation, humanity built in secret, preparing for the day when they would need to emerge from the shadows. "Admiral," Kai called out, his voice tense. "We're detecting a change in Zenith fleet movements. Multiple battle groups converging on the Arcturus sector. They're heading toward our colony world." Elena's jaw tightened. The colony on Arcturus 4 was deliberately designed to appear primitive, prefabricated structures made to look roughly constructed, outdated fusion reactors that leaked just enough radiation to suggest an emerging civilization. It was one of humanity's many carefully crafted deceptions. "They're following the pattern," she said, moving to the command center's main holographic display. "Just like they did with the Proxima and Centauri species. First contact, followed by an offer of protection that can't be refused." The station's AI, Aria, materialized as a translucent figure beside them. "Analysis suggests 97% probability the Zenith Empire will attempt to incorporate the Arcturus colony into their protectorate system within the next 72 hours. Elena accessed her neural interface, connecting directly with humanity's quantum defense network. Across hidden stations and stealth facilities throughout the sector, other commanders were seeing the same data. 200 years of preparation were about to be put to the test. "Send word to Fleet Command," Elena ordered. "Operation Revelation is now active. Begin Phase 1 of the emergence protocols." Throughout the station, hidden systems hummed to life. Quantum computers that had spent decades analyzing Zenith technology now began calculating combat solutions. The station's true form, a massive battle platform capable of engaging entire fleets, prepared to shed its careful camouflage. "What about the civilian population on Arcturus 4? Kai asked, his hands moving across holographic controls. "Already being evacuated through the quantum tunnels," Elena replied. "By the time the Zenith fleet arrives, they'll find empty buildings and automated systems maintaining the illusion of activity. When they move to protect our colony, they'll spring the trap we've spent generations preparing." The station's quantum sensors detected more Zenith ships arriving in the sector. Their crystalline vessels moved with predatory grace, completely unaware they were being watched from every angle. Humanity's hidden fleet waited in quantum space, ships that could rewrite the laws of physics itself, weapons that could turn the fabric of spacetime against their enemies. "It's almost poetic," Elena mused, watching the Zenith ships position themselves around Arcturus 4. "They think they're finding another primitive species to subjugate. Instead, they're about to discover why humanity chose to hide its true nature for so long." Aria's holographic form flickered. "Admiral, Zenith Command ships are preparing to broadcast their standard first contact message. Their weapon systems are powered but inactive, standard intimidation protocols." Elena allowed herself a small smile. "Let them make their grand entrance. Let them think they're the advanced civilization coming to guide another primitive race into the stars. The galaxy is about to learn that humanity's apparent weakness was its greatest deception." The command center hummed with controlled energy as humanity's hidden networks activated across the sector. In quantum space, ships that had never been detected by any alien sensor prepared to reveal themselves. 2 centuries of patience were about to pay off. "Send the coded signal to all our facilities," Elena commanded. "The time for hiding is over. Begin the countdown to emergence. Let's show the galaxy what humanity has become while no one was watching." As the Zenith ships moved into position around Arcturus IV, none of their sensors detected the quantum ripples spreading through space. Humanity's ghost fleet was about to teach the galaxy's self-proclaimed masters a lesson about underestimating primitive species. The real first contact war was about to begin, and only one side knew it was coming. High Admiral Vexthar of the Zenith Empire stood proudly on his flagship's command deck, watching the holographic display of the primitive human colony below. His crystalline armor sparkled with embedded power nodes, a visible symbol of his civilization's technological superiority. The colony's crude structures and inefficient energy signatures confirmed everything their long-range observations had suggested: another young species ripe for protection. "Begin the standard greeting protocols," he commanded, his translator converting his crystalline language into commands his crew could understand. "Show them our might, but remember, we want them awed, not terrified." Not yet. The massive Zenith warships moved into formation above Arcturus IV, their crystal matrix weapons charging just enough to be visible from the surface. It was a carefully choreographed display that had convinced countless species to accept the Empire's protection. None had ever refused, not after seeing the alternative. "My lord," his sensor officer called out, "we're detecting no response from the colony. In fact, we're detecting no life signs at all." Vexthar's bioluminescent patterns flickered with confusion. "Impossible. Our scouts observed them less than a planetary rotation ago." "Scan again." Before the officer could comply, space itself seemed to tear open around the Zenith fleet. Massive vessels of utterly alien design emerged from what appeared to be tiers in reality itself. Their black hulls absorbed both light and sensor scans, making them appear as holes in space. "Battle stations." Vexthar roared, but the human ships had already moved. Beams of concentrated quantum energy lanced out from the Earth vessels, striking with impossible precision. Where they hit, Zenith ships didn't explode, they simply ceased to exist, their very atomic structure unwritten from reality. "Impossible," Vexthar whispered. "Their technology, they couldn't have hidden this. We've been watching them." Admiral Elena Santos's image appeared on every display in the Zenith fleet, her expression calm but resolute. "Hi Admiral Vexthar, this is Admiral Santos of the Earth Defense Force. For 2 centuries, we've watched your empire subjugate primitive species under the guise of protection. We've studied your tactics, your technology, and your weaknesses. Today, that ends." The Zenith fleet's formations dissolved into chaos as more human ships emerged from quantum space. Their weapons didn't follow any physics the Empire understood, ships struck by quantum torpedoes aged thousands of years in seconds, their crystal matrices crumbling to dust. Others found themselves caught in temporal stasis fields, their crews experiencing centuries between seconds. "All ships, return fire," Vexthar commanded. The Zenith fleet's crystal matrix cannons launched devastating beams of energy, only to watch them bend around human vessels, redirected by gravitational fields that shouldn't exist. "You don't understand," Elena's voice came again, almost pitying. "We're not fighting you with better weapons. We're fighting you with better science. Your empire stagnated, convinced of its own superiority. Meanwhile, humanity never stopped advancing. A new type of human vessel emerged from quantum space, smaller, faster ships that seemed to exist in multiple locations simultaneously. They danced through the Zenith formation, their quantum-phased weapons bypassing shields that had never failed before. "My lord," his tactical officer's voice shook, "we've lost contact with half the fleet. The others, their systems are being rewritten somehow." Our technology is turning against us. Vexthar watched in horror as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by an enemy that had seemingly mastered the fundamental forces of the universe itself. His flagship's crystal matrix core began to resonate at impossible frequencies, its carefully maintained quantum fields collapsing. "This isn't possible," he insisted, even as warning signals flooded his neural interface. "You were primitive. We saw your colonies, your struggling attempts at space flight. You saw what we wanted you to see," Elena replied. "Every primitive colony, every struggling outpost, all carefully crafted illusions. We learn from history, High Admiral. When advanced civilizations encounter less developed ones, the results are rarely good for the latter. So we hid our true progress, studied our potential enemies, and prepared." The last of Vexthar's support ships vanished into quantum space, trapped in artificial temporal loops that would take centuries to resolve. His flagship now floated alone among the human fleet, its weapons and shields utterly useless against technology that seemed to operate on entirely different principles. "This is not just a defeat, High Admiral," Elena continued. "This is a message. Humanity will no longer tolerate the Empire's expansion. Your age of unrestricted conquest is over. The galaxy is about to change, and you can either change with it, or join the empires of the past in extinction." As his flagship systems finally failed, Vexthar realized that the Empire hadn't discovered a new primitive species to protect. They had awakened something that had been watching, waiting, and preparing, something that had outgrown the very laws of physics his civilization relied upon. The age of zenith dominance was over, and a new power was about to reshape the galaxy. News of the Zenith Empire's defeat spread through the galaxy like a quantum shockwave. Species that had lived under Imperial protection for generations watched in stunned silence as their supposed master's mighty fleet vanished into temporal anomalies or ceased to exist entirely. But for Director Lyra Nash of Earth's Strategic Intelligence Division, the real work was just beginning. Standing in the holographic command center of the EFS Prometheus, she watched as data streams from across known space painted a picture of galactic chaos. The carefully maintained balance of power that had defined interstellar politics for centuries was dissolving. "Status report on Operation Emergence," she commanded, her neural interface connecting directly with the ship's quantum AI. Phase 1 exceeded all projections, the AI responded, manifesting as a complex pattern of light. Zenith military capability reduced by 78%. Their remaining forces are in disarray, attempting to consolidate around their core worlds. However, we're detecting unexpected patterns in their subject worlds' responses. Lyra raised an eyebrow. "Elaborate." The holographic display shifted, showing dozens of worlds previously under Zenith control. Instead of the expected celebrations of liberation, many showed signs of fear of their supposed saviors. "They're afraid of us," Lyra realized. "We just proved we're more powerful than the empire that subjugated them. They think we're going to be worse." Captain Marcus Chen, the Prometheus's commanding officer, stepped forward. His weathered face reflected decades of preparing for this moment. "Can't blame them. We just demonstrated technology that makes the Zenith look primitive. From their perspective, we're either going to be their new overlords or something even more terrifying." "Show me the Arcturus system," Lyra ordered. The display shifted again, showing the aftermath of humanity's first strike. The quantum mines they'd left behind pulsed quietly, maintaining temporal distortion fields around captured Zenith vessels. Study teams were already moving in, though there was little they could learn from technology they'd surpassed centuries ago. "We need to move quickly," Lyra decided. "If we don't manage this transition carefully, we'll have a galaxy-wide panic on our hands." Begin Phase 2. Throughout quantum space, humanity's ghost fleet began to move. Ships that had hidden in dimensional pockets for generations emerged near every major world in known space. But these vessels were different from the warships that had demolished the Zenith fleet. These were humanitarian ships, carrying medical technology centuries ahead of anything the subjugated worlds had seen. Broadcasting on all frequencies, Marcus announced. Transmitting first contact package Alpha. Across thousands of worlds, beings of every description watched as human representatives appeared on their communication systems. The message was the same in every language: we are not your new masters. We are not your conquerors. We are your neighbors, and we've come to help. On the Prometheus's command deck, Lyra watched the first responses begin to arrive. Confusion, hope, disbelief, and in some cases, outright rejection of help from yet another powerful species claiming to have their best interests at heart. They'll learn, Marcus said quietly. Just like we did. The hard way isn't always the wrong way. A priority alert flashed through Lyra's neural interface. Multiple Zenith battle groups breaking formation near their core worlds. They're attacking their own subject planets. Spite, Marcus spat. If they can't control them, they'll try to destroy them. Lyra's fingers danced through holographic controls. Not on our watch. All ships, execute Protocol Omega. Show them what humanity's protection really looks like. Across space, human vessels shifted into quantum drive. Where Zenith ships appeared to threaten civilian worlds, they found themselves facing technology they couldn't comprehend. Quantum shields expanded to cover entire continents. Temporal fields froze attacking ships in moments of infinite duration. Message from Earth Command, the AI announced. The Council has approved Implementation Protocol Delta. Lyra nodded grimly. Do it. Throughout known space, quantum beacons activated, technology humanity had secretly seeded across thousands of worlds over centuries of careful preparation. As they activated, they began to rewrite local spacetime, creating a network of stable quantum corridors between worlds. To all worlds receiving this transmission, Lyra broadcast, her message translated perfectly into every known language. The corridors now connecting your systems are a gift from Earth. Free access to safe, instantaneous travel between worlds. No more dependence on Zenith control of traditional trade routes. No more isolation. No more submission to a greater power's whims. She paused, watching as the first tentative transmissions began between worlds that had been separated by Zenith control for generations. We hid our true nature not out of fear, but because we needed to understand. To prepare. To ensure that when we finally revealed ourselves, we could offer real freedom, not just another form of control. The quantum network hummed with increasing activity as more worlds began to communicate freely for the first time in centuries. Lyra allowed herself a small smile. The age of empires is over. The age of cooperation is about to begin. And humanity will be here to help guide the transition, not as masters, but as equals who simply had more time to prepare. Through her neural interface, Lyra could feel the pulse of quantum communications spreading across the galaxy. The Ghost Armada had emerged not to conquer, but to connect. To heal. To build. The real test of humanity's patience and preparation was just beginning. The Galactic Council chamber aboard humanity's diplomatic station, Unity, was unlike anything the assembled alien representatives had ever seen. The quantum-engineered space seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, allowing species from radically different environments to coexist comfortably while maintaining perfect communication. Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's chief diplomatic officer, stood before the gathered representatives. Her grandmother had helped design humanity's stealth systems centuries ago. Now, she faced an even greater challenge, proving humanity could be trusted with its overwhelming technological superiority. The Zenith Empire's remaining forces have begun targeting civilian populations, she announced, projecting a real-time map of affected systems. They're destroying what they can no longer control. Our fleets are responding, but we can't be everywhere at once. A Nexarian delegate, their crystalline form shimmering with anxiety, spoke up. Your ships appeared from nowhere to defeat the Zenith. Why not simply do the same to protect these worlds? Because real protection isn't about superior firepower, Sarah responded. It's about teaching people to protect themselves. That's why we're here today. The holographic display shifted, showing complex quantum schematics. We're prepared to share defensive technology with any world that wishes to join the Quantum Defense Initiative. Not our most advanced systems, but enough to prevent the kind of orbital bombardment the Zenith are attempting. Murmurs spread through the chamber. A Varix elder, their scales shifting colors with emotion, rose to speak. You offer weapons to species you barely know. The Zenith enslaved us precisely because they feared we would become threats. Sarah smiled. We're not offering weapons. We're offering shields. Protection. The ability to say no to any species that would try to dominate you, including us. The chamber erupted in discussion. Through her neural interface, Sarah could feel the quantum AI translating hundreds of conversations simultaneously. Fear, hope, suspicion, and gratitude all mixed together in a cacophony of diplomatic chaos. Admiral James Chen, Sarah's brother and commander of humanity's rapid response fleet, appeared as a hologram beside her. We've got another situation. The Zenith just hit 3 agricultural worlds in the Carina sector. Millions at risk. Sarah kept her expression neutral, though her heart raced. Casualties? None. The quantum shields we secretly installed a century ago activated automatically. But Sarah, some of the younger species are asking why we didn't prevent this war entirely. Why we waited so long to stop the Zenith if we had the power all along. The question hung in the air as Sarah turned back to the assembled delegates. She could see the same query in many of their eyes. It was time for total honesty. You're wondering why we waited, she addressed the chamber. Why we watched for centuries as the Zenith Empire expanded. Why we didn't stop them sooner. She paused, letting the translation systems catch up. Because we needed to understand power. Not just how to acquire it, but how to use it wisely. The holographic display shifted again, showing Earth's history. Our own past is filled with advanced civilizations encountering less developed ones. The results were almost always tragic, no matter how good the intentions. We promised ourselves we would not repeat those mistakes on a galactic scale. Images of humanity's hidden development played across the quantum space. We spent centuries studying not just technology, but psychology. Sociology. The impact of rapid technological advancement on civilizations. We learned that giving advanced technology to unprepared societies often causes more harm than good. So yes, we could have stopped the Zenith Empire centuries ago. But then we would have simply replaced one advanced civilization imposing its will on others with another. Instead, we waited. We prepared. We developed technology that could protect without destroying, defend without dominating. A Hilarion representative, their energy form pulsing with interest, spoke. And now? What makes this moment different from a century ago? Sarah gestured to the chamber around them. This does. You're here not as conquered subjects or grateful supplicants, but as equals in discussion. We're not imposing solutions, we're offering choices. Protection, yes, but also the knowledge and understanding to use it wisely. The quantum display showed the spreading network of defended worlds, each now capable of resisting any attempt at orbital bombardment or invasion. The galaxy is changing. The age of empires is ending. But the age that follows doesn't have to be chaos. Together, we can build something new. Something better. As the chamber erupted in renewed discussion, Sarah felt the weight of centuries of preparation on her shoulders. Humanity had emerged from hiding not to conquer, but to guide. The real question was, would the galaxy accept their help, or fear it? The answer would determine the future of all species, including humanity itself. 1 year after humanity's emergence, the observation deck of Earth's quantum observatory offered a view that would have been impossible before. Through specially engineered viewing ports, observers could watch quantum corridors linking thousands of worlds pulse with activity. Trade, cultural exchange, and cooperation were replacing millennia of isolation and fear. Fleet Admiral Elena Santos stood beside Director Lyra Nash, watching ships of countless designs move freely through the quantum network. Among them were the last refugee vessels from the former Zenith Empire, carrying those who had chosen cooperation over extinction. The final Zenith holdouts surrendered this morning, Elena reported. Their leadership finally accepted that they couldn't match our quantum technology. More importantly, they couldn't match our preparation. Lyra nodded, her eyes tracking a Hilarion trade ship passing through a nearby corridor. And the integration programs? Proceeding better than expected. Turns out a lot of Zenith citizens were just as trapped by their empire's philosophy as their subjected worlds. Given the choice between maintaining their superiority complex and joining a genuinely advanced civilization. Elena smiled. Well, pride means less when you're faced with technology that might as well be magic. A holographic alert materialized beside them, Dr. Sarah Chin requesting entrance. Both women nodded, and the quantum doors phased open. The Council has reached a decision, Sarah announced without preamble. They've ratified the Galactic Cooperation Accord. All 1,247 member worlds have signed. Elena let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Including the former Zenith core worlds. Especially them. Turns out watching your entire fleet get defeated by technology you can't even understand is very motivating for peaceful cooperation. The three women turned to watch a massive construction project taking shape in quantum space, the new Galactic Assembly, where representatives from all species would help guide the future of interstellar civilization. It's strange, Lyra mused. We spent centuries hiding our true capabilities, preparing for every possible conflict scenario. But in the end, our most powerful weapon wasn't our quantum technology or ghost fleets. It was patience, Elena finished. The wisdom to wait, to learn, to understand before acting. Sarah's quantum interface pulsed with incoming data. The first wave of technology sharing is complete. Basic quantum shielding, medical advances, clean energy systems, everything we promised. But more importantly, the educational programs are showing remarkable success. Species that were at war a year ago are now collaborating on scientific projects. Because we didn't just give them technology, Lyra said. We gave them understanding. The context to use it wisely. Through the quantum viewport, they watched as a former Zenith warship, now converted into a scientific vessel, docked with a station crewed by species that had once been their subjects. The sight would have been impossible just a year ago. The real test is still coming, Elena cautioned. Now that they've seen what's possible, some species will want more. They'll push for advanced weapons, for quantum drive technology beyond what we've shared. And we'll face those challenges as they come, Sarah replied. With the same patience that got us here. We're not guardians or rulers, we're guides. Teaching by example that true power isn't about domination, it's about elevation. A notification chimed softly, the first session of the new Galactic Assembly was about to begin. Representatives from hundreds of worlds would gather to help shape the future of known space. Humanity would have a voice, but only one among many. 2 centuries ago, Lyra reflected, when we first detected the Zenith Empire and realized how dangerous the galaxy could be, we had a choice. We could have built weapons, focused solely on military power. Instead, we chose to build understanding. And now? Elena asked, watching the assembly chamber fill with delegates. Now we help build a future, Sarah answered. One where advancement doesn't mean domination. Where strength doesn't require subjugation. Where patience and wisdom matter more than power. As the assembly's quantum space hummed with the voices of hundreds of species working together for the first time, Earth's long vigil had finally ended. Humanity had emerged not as conquerors or saviors, but as architects of a new age, one built not on fear of the strong, but on the strength of cooperation. The ghost fleet that had hidden for so long would now serve openly, not to dominate but to defend the principles that had guided humanity's patient preparation, that true power lies not in the ability to destroy or control, but in the wisdom to know when and how to help others rise. A new dawn had arrived for the galaxy, and humanity would face it not alone, but together with all those who chose to share in its light.